All right, so you're ready to dive in with me on this one? You sent over this stack of sources all about Simon Sinek, the Golden Circle. Seems like you're really interested in this whole power of why thing. And you know what? I am too. We've got excerpts from his book, Start With Why. Even some thought-provoking stuff in Arabic about the question why. Even a few visuals thrown in there. So what is it about the psychology of motivation that's got you so curious?
Well, what really gets me is how this whole why idea, it's not just some trendy business jargon, especially with the Arabic sources you send, it really hits you just how deep this question runs across different cultures, different times. It's like this common thread.
I actually hadn't thought about it like that before. So I was thinking maybe we start with a story. Sometimes the best way to really get into a big idea is like see it in action, right?
Love a good story. What did you have in mind?
Well, Sinek talks about Apple a lot, right? It's a classic example, but it shows just how powerful this whole golden circle thing could be.
Go on, I'm listening.
Remember those old Think Different ads? They didn't just focus on like specs and features and all that.
Yeah.
It was about their why, challenging the status quo, empowering the rebels. And it really resonated with people, I think that's a big part of why they have such a loyal following.
It's true. It wasn't just about what they made, the computers themselves. It was the why behind it all that really got to people. What's really wild is that Sinek says our brains are actually wired to respond to this kind of communication.
Okay, now you have to explain that because my brain needs to know more.
Yeah.
Break it down. What is this golden circle exactly?
Okay, so picture 3 circles, one inside the other. The smallest one right in the middle, that's your why, your purpose, your cause, your reason for doing what you do.
Okay.
That's the engine ready.
So if that's the why, what's next?
Next circle out, that's the how. This is all about the actions you take to bring that why to life. The processes, your unique approach, the strategies you use.
Got it.
And then the outermost circle, that's your what.
So the what is the actual stuff you do, the products, the services, right?
Exactly. But here's the thing. Most companies, they communicate from the outside in. They lead with the what, maybe touch on the how, but they rarely even get to the why.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So someone like Martin Luther King Jr., he wouldn't have inspired millions by just saying, hey, I want to end segregation. That's the what, right?
Exactly. Dr. King, he gave us his why. He shared his dream, this powerful vision of equality, of justice, and that why that ignited a movement, that fueled action on a massive scale. And it's not just social change either. Sinek uses the Wright brothers as an example.
Oh, yeah. They weren't the only ones trying to get a plane in the air, were they?
Not at all. They were competing with Samuel Langley. This guy, he was well-funded, well-connected, the works. Langley, he was all about being first, the fame, the money.
Right.
But the Wright brothers, they had something deeper driving them.
It was about changing the world, their why. And can you imagine if they'd given up? Talk about a different world. But what's going on in our brains when we connect with someone's why so strongly?
That is the million-dollar question, and this is where it gets really interesting. Sinek explains that this golden circle model, it actually mirrors how our brains are structured. The limbic system, that part of our brain that deals with emotions, behavior, decision-making.
So that's like our gut feelings, our core beliefs, that primal stuff?
Precisely. That's all tied into the limbic system. And it turns out that's the part of the brain that lights up when we hear someone talk about their why. The neocortex, that's the more, I guess you'd say, rational part, the part that handles language analysis.
Right.
That's more linked to the how and the what.
It's like it's not just biology, it's like ingrained in us culturally too, right?
Yeah, definitely. And there are some really fascinating examples of this, like throughout history and different cultures. For example, the text, it mentions how in early Islamic philosophy, the question why was central to understanding the nature of God, the purpose of creation. It's like this fundamental human need to search for meaning, for a deeper why behind it all.
Wow, I'd never thought about it in that context before.
Yeah.
See, this is why I love these deep dives. But it does make you wonder, right? If tapping into the why is so powerful, how do we actually find our own?
The million-dollar question.
Right.
Well, luckily, your sources, they actually give some pretty solid advice on this. One thing they suggest is to think back to moments in your life when you felt really fulfilled, energized, really in the zone.
Okay, so those peak experiences that really stick with you. Yeah, I can see that.
Right. So think about what made those experiences so powerful. Was it the actual work you were doing, the people you were with, the feeling of making a difference? A lot of times, your why is right there, hidden in plain sight. delight in those experiences.
It's like you're saying, it's about like finding the common threads, the things that connect those moments.
You got it. Your sources also talk about, thinking about the problems you're passionate about solving, what really gets you fired up, what injustice in the world keeps you up at night, that kind of thing. Often your why is right there at the intersection of, your passions and your desire to make things better.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like figuring out how your unique skills and passions can actually be used to contribute to something bigger.
Exactly. It's not just about finding something you're good at, but finding something you're good at that actually matters to you deeply.
Totally. Yeah. So let's say I've done all this reflecting, and I think I've found my why, right? How do I know if it's the right one?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because your sources, they emphasize that this isn't some kind of one and done deal. You know, it's not like you find your why and then you're set for life.
Right.
Think of it more like a compass guiding you, not an anchor holding you back.
Okay.
It's about trying it on, seeing how it feels, and being open to refining it as you change and grow.
So it's more of an ongoing process, not a destination.
Exactly. It's entirely possible that your why might shift. It might change as you have new experiences, gain new perspectives. It's all about finding that sweet spot where your values, your passions, your skills, they all line up in a way that feels true to you.
This is actually making me think about all the times I've felt stuck, unfulfilled, whether it was a job, a relationship, or even just a hobby I wasn't enjoying anymore. What if those were all signs that I wasn't aligned with my why?
Now, that's a powerful insight. And one of the most fascinating things Sinek talks about is how this whole golden circle thing, it goes way beyond just business. It can totally change how you approach relationships, parenting, even your own personal growth.
Okay, now you have to elaborate on that. How does understanding my why make me a better parent, for instance?
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's instead of just laying down the law with my kids, I need to actually explain the why behind the rules, It's all about connecting on that deeper level, right? When kids understand the values behind your actions, it's they're more likely to actually internalize them.
So it's less about just because I said so and more about having a real conversation.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to actually make their own choices, even when you're not there. And this whole thing about connecting through shared values, purpose, that goes way beyond just parenting, too.
Oh, for sure.
Think about your career, right? Ever take a job for the wrong reasons?
Oh, yeah, totally. Money, status, all that. But those never lasted. I always just ended up feeling, uninspired, like something was missing.
Sounds like you might not have been aligned with the why behind those roles. If a company's mission doesn't resonate with you, with your values, your sense of purpose, it's tough to feel truly fulfilled.
That's a really good point. Okay, so next time I'm job hunting, I'm thinking about their why. What are they actually trying to achieve? Beyond just making a profit, does it actually align with what I care about?
Now you're getting it. It's like Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that applies to careers too, right? When you find that alignment, work becomes less about a paycheck and more about actually contributing to something you believe in.
This has been honestly eye-opening. Who knew a simple question like why could be so powerful?
It's been great diving into this with you. I think the beauty of this whole concept is that it's both timeless and incredibly relevant no matter what stage of life you're in.
Couldn't agree more. And for everyone listening, here's something to think about. Your why. It isn't set in stone. It can change and grow as you do. So keep asking that question, why, throughout your life. You might be surprised at what you discover.